Welcome back to KNation. We're going to talk a little Jayhawk football. We got a special guest here to do just that. It's Kevin Flaherty with the KC Sports Network and the Pay Heed podcast, newly launched podcast. Kevin, how are things going?
Things are going really well. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. Thank you for joining us today. We want to talk a little Jayhawk football. You've covered recruiting in the state of Kansas, not just for KU, but throughout the state for a long time. I'm curious, how much have things changed? We've seen it in the results, but probably even in the way that recruits, whether that's in the state or elsewhere, treat Kansas football.
Well, yeah, there was a top recruit in the state just a few classes ago that basically sent out the message, if I'm going to stay in state, I'm not going to Kansas.
Yeah.
And it was early stages of the recruitment. I'm not even going to give you a chance. I'm not going to look at you. And I think that's been the major difference. It's not necessarily, hey, Kansas is going to go out and dominate the state in recruiting or anything like that. But I think kids have their doors open more. They're willing to hear what people say. And, and I think an example of that in this year's class is Lincoln Cure, who I think Kansas State probably leads for, but he's still visiting Kansas. He's still having those conversations. I'm not sure if that would have happened a couple classes ago.
Lincoln Cure, if you're not familiar, Kevin's talking about top tight end in the state. One of the top tight ends in the country out of Goodland, Kansas.
Right. We talk a lot about Lance Leipold and, of course, what he's done in Lawrence and everything. But from your perspective, for somebody who's been covering this, before Lance got there and to now, just this ascension that he's had now, transfers coming in, Michigan State, kids coming in from all over the place that maybe wouldn't have been there before. I mean, it's just interesting. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they've done a great job in the transfer portal. And one of the things that's really helped Lance Leipold that I'm not sure gets discussed enough was the addition of the transfer portal, the fact that you could take more than 25 scholarships in a class, because Charlie Weiss booted off such a huge portion of the players. And when that happened, he even told me at Big 12 Media Days, I didn't know the impact that was going to have on the roster. And every single coach after that has been operating at a severe scholarship deficit up until Leipold and the rules changes. And so obviously they were able to upgrade the talent across the roster, but even beyond that, just having 85 scholarship players like everybody else does.
As you look at what KU is doing in their recruiting, they've had a lot of defensive success. They've got a lot of studs on defense. I look at Dak Brinkley and the list goes on. We mentioned those transfer guys. Why do you think that is? Because their program has been, I don't want to say built on, but has been high explosive offense, but the defensive success is where we've seen the most in recruiting.
Sure, I think part of that was maybe the staff's best recruiter was Jordan Peterson, who now left, for Texas A&M, as did Colin Klein, obviously from Kansas State. But he was a guy that really built relationships in Arizona, and so you were able to see Deshaun Warner was the top ranked recruit that Kansas has had in the recruiting database era. And so I think that was part of it. With transfers, I do think they've been able to sell at least opportunity, if not playing time. Then you can come back to a guy like Bai Jobe in this year's transfer class and tell him not necessarily, hey, you're going to go from not playing to be first team All Big 12, but at the same time, you're going to have an opportunity if you come in here and work the right way. There's chances for you here.
Yeah, is he? I'll ask you quickly. Is he a guy that you see playing right away?
I think so.
Jobe, the defensive end from Michigan State?
I think so. I think that when you look at a lot of their top defensive end guys, they're guys that are really quick but don't necessarily have college-ready size yet. They're younger. They still need to develop in that area. Bai Jobe is a younger guy, but he also has college-ready size. He's somebody that can step in and not be at a deficit there, whereas some of the guys we just talked about, the Dak Brinkleys, the Deshaun Warners, Dylan Brooks, guys like that still have to put in the work in the weight room to get up to that size.
Absolutely.
Right. A lot to look forward to for Kansas football, of course. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us here today. More K-Nation's on the way after the break. Stay tuned.